Tensions rise as the Demon Lord awaits his new competitor, who is confidently walking towards him as if he's a mere insect. What stands out is the fact that our hero has a tail, which means that he might be a demi-human, which is what a Dreamlich also assumes. As the Demon Lord tries to figure our hero's mysterious aura, the Shadow Lords are shocked and surprised to see him, and we learn that his name is Calcifer. The Shadow Lords call out his name like a bunch of panicked cheerleaders. Help me! And then Calcifer acts tough for dramatic effect. He points at the Demon Lord and orders him to release the Shadow Lords immediately, after which he should go to hell because his kind is not welcome here. However, just as Calcifer is about to enter Sigma male territory, his phone starts ringing much to everyone's surprise. It turns out to be a notification, so our hero takes a look at it, but is visibly annoyed by what it says. The Dreamlich doesn't appreciate such interruptions, so he demands to know what Calcifer is here for, but he adds insult to injury. He announces that he had to spend $25 simply to absorb and then repel the black hole that was thrown at him. The Dreamlich is a bit clueless as to what this means and seeks clarity, but is given a rather absurd explanation. Calcifer doesn't like to repeat himself, so he tries to make this as clear as possible for the Demon Lord. That's when we learn that our hero doesn't lose stamina or energy whenever he uses his powers. Instead, he loses money, which is something he considers to be much more valuable. Calcifer is visibly stressed by the recent cost he had to bear, but a Dreamlich is clueless once again, and he simply stares in confusion. Our hero adds on to his worries by stating he doesn't even have $300 to his name. And now he's down by a further $25. It doesn't matter whether his money is out in the open or in the bank. He will lose it regardless, and that's why he hates this part-time job, which is apparently an unpaid role. Calcifer decides to be reasonable and states that he's lost way too much money this month, almost as if he was hit by a spirit bomb. He doesn't want to add on to his expenses, so he wishes for this fight to end as soon as possible without any further usage of power. The Demon Lord finally gets what our hero is talking about, but decides to be sarcastic when he says he'll release the Shadow Lords and be on his way back to hell. Then, he offers Calcifer the option to escort him to his demon masters, and our hero agrees to do it as part of his job. The Dreamlich adds on to the hilariousness of the situation by stating he can also buy some dinner for our hero. As expected, Calcifer simply thinks of this as a favor rather than an insult, and he happily agrees to it. However, his budget is definitely going to take another hit, as he is made to witness a Dreamlich unleashing his true powers. The Demon Lord angrily looks at Calcifer and scolds him for trying to make a fool of him. He doesn't believe that Calcifer actually has to spend money every time he uses his powers, and unleashes his anger in the form of a purple burst of energy. Once he's done with his insults, a Dreamlich expresses some relief because he was getting annoyed by Calcifer and his weird speech, which just wasn't stopping. He is particularly upset because his sacred ritual was interrupted by our hero, and now he has to make him pay for his actions. The Dreamlich says that he is going to eliminate Calcifer and shows off an overpowered transformation that turns him into an S-rank demon monster. He proceeds to prepare a finisher blast, and it makes Calcifer a bit nervous, but this is probably because he's going to spend more money. On top of that, the Shadow Lords don't spare him either, as they rebuke our hero for slacking off and not doing his job. We learn that Calcifer is like a bodyguard for the Death Incarnate, and then a Shadow Lord named Thomas orders him to do his job. This makes Calcifer upset, so he reminds Thomas that he isn't his boss, but then another Shadow Lord named Charlotte reminds him that since he works for Meeker, he also works for her by default. This only leads to a hilarious sequence where our hero argues with Charlotte over his salary, which he hasn't been getting for months. Charlotte fires one back at him by challenging his work ethic and demands for timesheets. Our hero is perplexed by this request because he doesn't think that fighting overpowered demon lords is the same as an office job. However, in the middle of this drama, a Dreamlich is unamused and he prepares a dark energy ball. He proceeds to unleash his tremendous power and blasts his way towards Calcifer, hoping to finish him off with one blow. However, it isn't as easy as he's thinking it to be, as our hero turns around and summons his own powers as well. The Dreamlich is triggered by the fact that Calcifer is looking down on him, which only furthers his desire to end his opponent as quickly as possible. He activates his god bully form and summons the Hammer of 1,000 Gravities. The Demon Lord proceeds to give us a spectacular display of strength and power as he deploys his finisher move and launches shockwaves from his attack. This causes a giant explosion, and all the Shadow Lords watch on in amazement. But this isn't even the best part. We can hear Calcifer muttering something, and it only annoys Adramlech further, because not only is his opponent survived, he also hasn't shut up. Our hero proceeds to break the overpowered hammer with ease, and taunts Adramlech by saying his actions are going to cost him dearly. Now, we see that there is a demon living inside Calcifer, and he is awakened by the hammer attack. So he gets grumpy. The demon hand mocks our hero because he puts in a lot of work for free, and is also a greedy jerk. Calcifer hilariously reasons that he shared a pack of Oreos with the demon hand, but a few creamy cookies are not going to help his case this time. It turns out that Calcifer has made a pact with this demon hand, and Adramlech gives us further clarity because he recognizes the symbols marked on it. He declares that Calcifer is wearing a type of demon gauntlet, also known as a hellfist, and this explains why he's so ridiculously overpowered. Adramlech further laments that a demi-human such as our hero should not be in possession of such a treasure of hell, especially considering that his hellfists belong to the first demon king. At the same time, this is very confusing for Adramlech because hellfists cannot be used or tamed unless they have been fed a tremendous amount of human souls. However, that's when the light bulb in his head finally switches and he realizes what our hero meant when he said he lost money every time he used his powers. It's a neat trick, and it makes the demon lord piss his metaphorical pants, but Calcifer doesn't have time for fun and games, because he is losing money with every moment Adramlech is spending here on Earth. He reinforces the fact that he wants the demon lord to go back to hell, and he doesn't even care what his reason is for being here. However, before he can order Adramlech to get lost, his phone buzzes again. Calcifer figures that this is another bill for repelling the demon hammer, so he checks the damage. To his dismay, the amount is $62, and it makes him break a sweat because he's lost over $87 without even banishing his opponent. Calcifer angrily walks towards an already scared Adramlech and states that he is going to pay for all these unnecessary expenses. A demonic aura surrounds our hero, and things aren't looking good for Adramlech, so he unleashes a purple blast, hoping for a different result. But it's of no use as the inner gates of hell have opened up inside Calcifer. He charges at the demon lord in ominous fashion and rips off his hand like it's nothing. Adramlech is visibly concerned by what just happened, as he wasn't even able to spot our hero carry out his attack. Calcifer simply states that the demon lord is an outsider in the human realm, and nobody cares who he is over here, especially when he has a debt to pay. Our hero calmly gets off Adramlech while holding his severed hand and states that he will not kill him just yet. Instead, he looks at the demon lord in scary fashion and states that he is going to bill him for all the unnecessary costs he's incurred. On top of that, he also has to pay Calcifer 3 months worth of rent in order to pay back his debt. His demon hand doesn't agree with this kind of invoicing, and calls out our hero for the shameless person he is. However, Calcifer is only concerned about how much money he's lost and even classifies Adramlech under one of his financial threats. The demon hand has never seen such a classification during his time as a hellfist, but Calcifer simply berates him and orders him to get lost. The demon hand vanishes after stating that our hero is no fun. And then Adramlech tries to figure why he doesn't have any information on a boy who is the bodyguard of the Death Incarnate. It's all a blur to him and he doesn't have any answers, even though he is certain he would have known of someone so overpowered. That's when it hits the demon lord that his memories have been tampered with, as there are specific gaps in what he's trying to remember. He also seems to suffer from headaches whenever something like this happens, and he is confident now that there is something fishy going on behind the gates of hell. The demon lord drops to the ground and starts to wonder who would do such a thing to him. But he has bigger problems to take care of as our hero is still standing there with his arm, ready to collect his payback. Whether he'll get his money back from Adramlech is a question that can only be answered in the next video. So, like, share, and subscribe to stay updated on when I release part 3. See you soon.